so you explained how you got into being a sniper, and that's an interesting way to get into it.
Yeah.
So, hey, I don't like being on this side, so I'm going to go to the other side. So now you go through your training. I'm assuming y'all are still going to Fort Huachuca.
No, I went to First Marine Division Scout Sniper School in Camp Pendleton. So
okay. And so then you end up back over in country.
mm-hmm.
You've been through all your training. I'm sure you, at this point, you've pulled the trigger before, and there's a good chance that you hit somebody on the other side. But the very first time that you're in that position and you've got somebody squarely in your crosshairs, were you asking yourself, can I really do this?
So I'll give you my perspective was, like I said, that first deployment was very, very kinetic, as they say, chaotic deployment. We were getting in gunfights all the time. I mean, it was just, if you were there, and I don't care what unit you were in or what your job was, if you were driving the chow truck, you saw a lot of combat. You know what I'm saying? So I had that experience in a chaotic sense. So I'll flash forward to then 2007 when I'm back in Ramadi. So it's a completely different time and place now. This is during the Al Anbar awakening. We're starting to make some headway. A lot of the Sunni tribes have then turned against what was originally ISI and then Al Qaeda in Iraq, all those groups, because you had some folks, what was his name, the Jordanian guy already, Zarqawi, was running that, and he was going around killing, sheikhs and other tribal leaders, and they were like, well, we don't like the Americans being here, but we definitely don't want that. So they ended up coming over and siding with us, and we started this whole process, right? So it was a different time and place, and there was, we were out on a mission, and we're set up. We'd go to a home at that time for as long as we can, 24 to 48 hours. When it got into really, really hot summer months, you could only bring so much water and stuff. So, and exhaustion would set in, but we were out there for a couple of days, and city's like dead quiet. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, it's just that hot, you're just sweat through everything. You're in this house, you've got your position set up where you can see. At this point, we had different tactics of how we would do it. This one had a family in it, but they had like a connected house. They were staying in it. So we just made sure we kept an eye and said, all right, don't go anywhere. It was kind of, it was hit or miss in how we did it, but that's a whole nother story. And this one was just, like I said, it's dead quiet. So we're looking out, it's just nothing all day long. I mean, literally at this point, we're like, man, there's not even a car on the street. Like, what's going on? So there's something odd. There's something up. We just don't know what it is yet, right? Then all of a sudden we hear one burst of fire, not far away. Like, this has got to be within a couple 100 meters. Then another burst, like 100 meters away, and then another burst. And then all of a sudden, like, the city erupts, and we're like, okay, here we go. It's on. I mean, it's on. And then just like you talk about, there we are. I'm on the gun, right? Waiting. I'm checking, because we don't know the situation, but we're not getting shot at, but there is a lot of gunfire, right? So at that point, because of all of our experience and how many times we had been shot at, we weren't like super amped up yet. We're just waiting to see what happens. And what do I see? Guy coming out with an AK-47, and he's poking his head around the corner, just looking around the wall. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And he wasn't looking at us, but I didn't know what he was looking at. So right there, you're looking through the scope there's gunfire going off. He has an AK-47. He's not in any type of police or military uniform, right? But at the same time, it's Iraq. Everyone's got an AK-47, right? That doesn't mean anything on its own. And he starts to bring up that rifle, and you're having that's right there, because the situation was not there. I wasn't presented with some obvious target here. It wasn't someone shooting. It wasn't someone attacking me. It was just, am I going to kill this guy? Am I going to end this guy's life right now? And then I'm having this doubt about it, not about killing someone, but what if I do this and it's, this guy didn't deserve to die, and I get in a whole bunch of trouble for it. Right. Well, what's that? Because you have that power and that authority. You have to be the one to make those decisions on the ground. And I sat there for just a second, literally finger on the trigger. I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like literally sweating from the heat of just thinking about this story. And I'm looking at the guy, and nothing about him said, I'm about to go fight someone. I'm trying to kill someone. Just nothing was there. And that's why I was so hesitant. And he picked up that AK and he started firing it in the air. And then we heard more and more and more. Turns out Iraq just won a soccer game, and everyone in that city was who had any access to a television was watching that game. And when they won, it was celebration time, and they celebrated by firing AKs into the air. So this guy who had no idea that I was even there, had no idea I was looking at him through the scope of a rifle, almost died, almost bled out on the street because he was celebrating a soccer game. I mean, like, it's just all the emotions are coming back right now. I'm feeling it. You're just like, holy crap. Like, that stuff to me is always more difficult than you're in a gunfight and people are trying to kill you. Like, that's pretty primal, pretty basic. And if you have the appropriate training, you can get through those situations. When it's something in there where you're not sure, when that little bit of doubt creeps in, oh man, that's when that heart starts racing. That's when all those thoughts go through your head. Okay, did he meet the rules of engagement? What has he actually done? Can I articulate my decision of why I made it at this time? Because you remember everything. This isn't, you are trained to a standard, which means you have to operate at that standard, which means you're going to be held to that standard, right? It's a very, very different standard than other folks on some other mission. You are right here, and you were expected, like, you knew or should have known something was going on. So if I had pulled the trigger there, this guy, I would have killed this guy. I mean, I would have been living with that the rest of my life. That he wanted to, I killed him for celebrating the win of a soccer game. I mean, so that was like, those situations to me are,
that is unbelievable. Okay. And so for everybody watching this, we haven't talked about this story. I didn't know where you were going.
I didn't remember that story till you just asked me that question. So that's why I'm sweating right now.
I mean, I'm like, I'm just getting, I'm like, oh my God, he's getting ready to take this guy's life. But yet it was just the opposite. You gave him his life back, and he was euphoric over a game. But that's what it means to them in the midst of their country being torn apart. His life was in your fingertip, and literally, thank God you made the right decision.